Good morning, Paul. Good morning, everyone. Maayong buntag sa tanan. Maayong buntag po.
Good morning, sir.
Maayong buntag sa tanan.
Good morning, Sir Journey.
Okay, salamat. I am glad that you are all alive, awake, and enthusiastic for this webinar. Before anything else, I would like to congratulate everyone for the concerted effort. No, tayo po, as of yesterday, ang #1 sa enrollment, no, na naitala po sa regional office. So, congratulations po sa lahat ng mga school heads, sa lahat ng mga teachers for the effort. Before discussing our main objective of this webinar, I would like to share with you some realities of our situation right now. And perhaps
Para makabalo mo.
some thoughts of what we are going to do in order to cope with the effects of COVID-19 without sacrificing our performance as educators, and on how are we going to support our dear teachers in the field. So this is our context. What is it we know and do not know about COVID-19? Of course, we know that the virus is contagious and easily transmitted and can be fatal. So nakamamatay po at saka nakakahawa. Ang masakla po dito ay hindi natin alam kung sino ang carrier ng virus. So we know that there is no available vaccine at the moment, and we are still waiting for that to be created. And of course, physical distancing is still one of the best ways not to be infected with the virus. And of course, there is limited movement of people depending on the quarantine restrictions. So at this time, we are on MGCQ, no, modified, enhanced. Klaro ba? Excuse me. Ito ba? Okay, MGCQ po tayo ngayon. Then, of course, we know that mass gathering is still limited. And families and workers worry about their occupation and expenses for daily living. Alam natin lahat yan, no? Lahat tayo ay nagkakaproblema, lalong-lalo na po yung mga affected na mga workers dahil wala na po silang kita. At saka tayo, maswerte pa rin tayo na nasa empleyado ng mga gobyerno na kahit umulat bumagyo o kahit may pandemic naman, may sweldo pa po rin tayo. And we do not know as of this time, when will the vaccine be developed and made available? And we do not know if we can achieve immunity from the virus. And still, we do not know the possibility of series of outbreaks once community quarantine is lifted. And we do not know how safe we will be when we go out or return to work during post-quarantine. So yan po ang mga hindi po natin alam at ang mga nalalaman po natin about COVID-19. Yan po ang context natin. Next slide. Okay, these are the anticipated new normal scenarios. At ang mga iba po dito ay nangyayari na po sa ngayon. On your left are the current changes which we are experiencing or practicing right now, or measures which we are practicing or experiencing right now. And on your right are the responses to what we are practicing at the moment o mga possibilities po na nangyayari po sa ngayon. Na-off? Joy, nawa akong slide, Joy. So ayan na po yung anticipated new normal scenario po natin. Uulitin ko, yung nasa kaliwa po ay ang current changes or measures which we are experiencing or practicing right now. And on your right are the responses to what we are practicing at the moment o mga possibilities na nangyayari po sa ngayon. First, we have the adoption of alternative work arrangements. So sa mga guro po, nagsisimula po ang inyong pag-report sa office since June 1. Pero yung mga division personnel ay nagsimula na po mag-adapt ng alternative work arrangement last March pa po. Kaya po nag-issue ang ating department o ang central office ng Department Order number 11 Series of 2020 regarding sa revised guidelines on alternative work arrangement in the Department of Education during the period of state of national emergency due to COVID-19 pandemic. So nais ko pong basahin ninyo itong maigi, mga school heads at mga guro, upang malaman ninyo ng gusto kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng adoption of alternative work arrangement. Ginagawa na po natin ngayon yung kasali po sa alternative work arrangement ay yung work from home, yung virtual teams, and staggered working hours. Actually po, based on Memorandum Circular ng Civil Service, Series of 2020, mayroon pong 5 alternative work arrangement na ipahayag. Una ay ang work from home, then meron po tayong tinatawag na skeleton workforce. Then we have 4-day work week. Then we have staggered working hours. And the last po ay itong other alternative work arrangement wherein maaari pong maging kombinasyon ng lahat ng mga nailathalang mga work arrangements. So second is the stringent physical distancing is still required or less face-to-face interaction. Nakikita po natin sa TV kung paano po ginagawa ito na kailangan po stricto pong ipagpapatupad ang social distancing or physical distancing kahit saan po tayo magtungo. Even when we are in school, no, even when we are talking with our co-workers in the government or in school, we have to practice strictly, no, this physical distancing and other related health protocols for us to be safe from COVID-19. Kaya, katulad ng ginagawa natin, mayroon tayong, para makapag-usap pa rin tayo, mayroon tayong ginagawang online na mga webinars or seminars or teleconferencing just to keep us in contact with each other. No, kahit hindi tayo nakikita ng personalan, pero through virtual means, makapag-usap pa rin tayo at makapagbigay ng mga informasyon katulad ng ginawa natin ngayon. And of course, all of us employees are still adapting or adjusting into the new norm. Hindi naman po natin gusto ang nangyaring ito, but then wala tayong magawa, nandito na po ito, so we have to adjust. And we have to adapt. No? Kung ano po ang kailangan nating gawin. Of course, we have, based on this pandemic, meron na tayong dapat na babaguhin, katulad ng mga standards for working at home. No, mababasa po niyo yan. Department Order number 11, ng mga suggested work from home arrangements. And of course, magkakaroon tayo ng new ways of assessing performance based on the way we perform our duties and responsibilities. Meron na rin po tayo mga rise of work and family, rise of work disruptions, either family and work management. No, hindi talaga natin maikakailan na may mga pagkakataon na we are disturbed, no? Ano ba ang uunahin natin? Yung safety natin o yung trabaho natin o yung pamilya natin? But despite of those things, we have to think, no, that we are still public servants and we are required to perform our duties and responsibilities. provided we have to practice physical or social distancing and other related health protocols for us to be safe. And with that, we need to upskill our technology. And we have to be techy nowadays. May mga kasamahan tayong hanggang sa ngayon ay medyo nahihirapan pa rin i-adapt ang technology just to communicate or use it in the performance of their official functions. So wala tayong magawa. As I've said, we have to adapt. That's why kailangan nating i-upskill not only the technology, but we have to train also ourselves on how to be or how to adapt with the new norm of using the technology as one of the means or one of the best means in communicating or in carrying out our duties and responsibilities. That's why we need to set new skills, or we have to train ourselves on how to be technology savvy. Next, Jerry. Okay, so how are we going to manage performance in the new normal? As you can see, there are 3 bubbles that will somehow give us the idea on how to deal with it. First bubble is all about engaging employees in the process of navigating through the new normal. Set up mechanism, protocol on the new standards of working. That's the second bubble. And the third bubble is all about provide support for employees' success in the new normal. Okay, next, Joy. When we talk about engaging employees in the process of navigating through the new normal, it means that we have to value individual journey on adapting to the new normal. Yung adapting kasi to the new normal depends upon the disposition po ng ating mga sarili. Medyo ang iba siguro nahihirapan, yung iba madali lang para sa kanila na i-adapt ang sitwasyon natin ngayon, pero hindi talaga natin maikakaila na there are teachers or employees na nahihirapan talaga at talagang nagko-complain sa mga nangyayari po ngayon. Lalong-lalo na po yung mga guro na nasa pre-departure area na at saka yung may mga underlying health conditions na nahihirapan talaga sila. Of course, we have to revisit and create office or services continuity plan and risk mitigation plan. So paano ba natin may pagpapatuloy ang ating mga trabaho kahit na nasa new normal tayo? Na hindi na talaga katulad nung dati na magkikita-kita tayo at palaging nasa paaralan. Of course, pwede rin ninyong basahin, as I've said, ang mga alternative work arrangement, lalong-lalo na itala sa Department Order number 11, Series of 2020. Lahat po ay nakasulat doon kung ano ang dapat gawin ng bawat isa, bawat paaralan, at ang bawat manggagawa upang maiwasan lamang ang pagkalat ng COVID-19. We have to remember that education must continue, but we have to plan well to mitigate the risk. And of course, we have to listen to our employees. We have to ask their ideas and recommendation para naman po tayo ay magkakaintindihan, lalong-lalo na po sa panahon ngayon o sa sitwasyon natin ngayon na talagang may mga restrictions na kailangan nating ipapatupad. Next, Joy. Okay. The second bubble is all about setting up mechanism or protocol on the new standards of working. Of course, we have new or redefined standards for working at home. So sa sinabi ko na, uulitin ko pa, ang lahat ng mga ito ay explicitly explained sa Department Order number 11, Series of 2020. Kung ano ibig sabihin ng skeleton workforce, kung ano ang dapat gawin sa work at home, kung susundin nyo ba ang 4-day work week or palagi ang pag-report ng 4 na araw o 5 araw at sa susunod na mga linggo ay mag-work from home na naman kayo. So depende po yan sa arrangement. Kaya mag-usap-usap kayo mga guro at mga punong guro ng ating mga paaralan upang talagang magkaroon tayo ng tamang proseso as to how are we going to perform our duties and responsibilities without sacrificing the quality, no? Kahit na po hindi tayo nakikita-kita. Of course, meron din tayong tinatawag na virtual teams, check-in, platform, katulad ng ginawa natin ngayon na pwede tayong makakommunicate sa ating mga kasamahan through online or through text or through call. Basta isipin lang po natin palagi na kailangan output-oriented po tayo. Hindi nangangahulugan na work from home, na wala naman tayong ginagawa sa bahay natin, kundi magtanim, maglinis, at kung ano-ano pa po. But still, kahit kasali po yan, we have to give priority on our official duties and functions. Okay, so kailangan din natin magkaroon ng work from home planner. Kailangan nating iplano kung ano ang gagawin natin sa bahay at kung paano rin natin sisingilin ng mga schoolmates ang output po ng ating mga kasamahan group. And of course, we have to track, no? And monitor the performance of our teachers and other workers sa ating pong pangpaaralan. Next year. Okay, last is provide support for employees' success in the new normal. Of course, as part of providing support with our employees, we have to protect our employees' mental health and well-being. So kung kailangan natin magkaroon tayo o magbigay tayo ng mga psychological first aid just to condition the mind of our workers, of our teachers, no, not to worry much, no, about what happened. Kasi kung maapektuhan tayo, no, kung mag-worry tayo ng masyado, hindi tayo makakapag-concentrate sa ating trabaho. So that's why kailangan natin kausapin yung mga guro natin and as I've said, provide psychological first aid. No, kakausapin natin sila para naman sila magkaroon ng mga bagong informasyon o information at hindi sila maburyong, no? Hindi sila magsasawa o magkaroon ng ibang iisipin habang nasa bahay po sila. Of course, as I've said earlier, we have to upskill the technology or IT infrastructure na kailangan nating paghandaan ito, na dapat magkaroon tayo ng malakas na signal at kung ano-ano pa man ang dapat nating gawin para lang tayo makakonect sa net at makapag-usap. And of course, we have to train also ourselves, no? As I said earlier, to be techy para po tayo maka-adjust, no, sa ating panahon ngayon. Then of course, we have to collaborate. We have to develop culture of collaboration kasi kung hindi tayo nagko-collaborate, watak-watak tayo. So dapat magkaisa pa rin tayo kahit na may pandemya. So we have to work as one, we have to win as one, we have to educate as one, and we have to heal as one. And last po ay yung remote coaching and mentoring. No, kahit na nasa malayo tayo, kahit nasa bahay tayo o nasa opisina, hindi natin nakikita yung mga teachers natin, kailangan pa rin natin gumawa ng paraan upang mabigyan natin sila ng guidance sa kanilang mga ginagawa. No? So, ito ay napakahalaga para sa lahat ng mga punong guro po natin na kailangan nating magkaroon ng sapat na kaalaman as to how are we going to coach and mentor our workers or our co-teachers. Next, John. Okay, so these are our objectives for this webinar. We have to prepare our teachers, graders, and other data personnel who are involved in the results-based performance management system in implementing the phase 3 of the RPMS cycle for school year 2019-2020 amid the COVID-19 situation and while transitioning to the new normal. Alam naman po natin na natigil yung pasukan po natin, no? In the middle of March, parang March 16, hindi na tayo pumunta sa ating mga paaralan dahil po sa pandemyang ito. So, hindi po natapos yung school year. O kung natapos man, na-cut short po, no? Kaya hindi natuloy yung phase 3, no? Ang phase 3 ay yung performance review and evaluation at saka yung phase 4 na performance rewarding and development planning. So kaya isa ito, no? Ang webinar na ito ay upang maihanda natin ang ating mga guro at kayo po, mga school heads, no, being the raters, another person, DepEd personnel na involved sa RPMS. Another one is orient key RPMS personnel on accomplishing the electronic individual performance commitment and review form, submitting the IPCRFs of teachers via online, and monitoring the submission of the IPCRFs of teachers via online. Ito po yung i-discuss ni Marnie sa inyo. No, pag-uusapan po ninyo ito with Marnie kung ano talaga ang gagawin po natin, no, sa RPMS on this aspect sa online na po. At saka si Marnie po ang magbibigay sa inyo ng information regarding this matter. Next, Joy. Okay, ito yung IPCRF data collection system for SY 2019-2020. Of course, you are going to discuss the following topics, no? How to accomplish the electronic IPCRF for SY 2020, how to submit it, and how to monitor the submission of electronic IPCRFs for teachers. At ang nais po nating malaman, o yung nalaman po ninyo at ang gusto pa po ninyong malaman tungkol sa IPCRF data collection. So, yung kulay blue, yung what do you know about IPCRF data collection system for SY 2018-2019? Of course, nandiyan na po kung ano yung mga nalaman po ninyo based sa orientation that was given last, I do believe, last September ata yun. No? And ito na po yung collated na mga responses po ninyo. No? What do you want to know about IPCRF data collection system for SY 2019-2020? Of course, you would like to know about the updates on how the existing system was made more user-friendly. Then the specific roles and responsibilities of DepEd personnel involved from schools, SDOs, and regional offices. Then how does this new system adapt to the new normal? Then how can we utilize the results more efficiently and the platform that will be used? And of course, the revised timelines in relation to the COVID-19 pandemic. Next, please. Okay, ito na po yung rationale for the RPMS data collection system. Of course, to better support the continuous professional development of teachers based on the PPST. DepEd BHROD seeks to establish baseline data on teachers' proficiency level on the first 12 PPST indicators and on the succeeding indicators. So, baseline data po ang kailangan ng ating BHROD as to how proficient are our teachers. Then all public schools need to submit data from teachers, individual performance commitment and review forms for each rating period. And the last, there's a need to establish a system that will enable collection and submission of RPMS data across governance levels. Ito po yung rationale ng RPMS data collection system. At malalaman po ninyo ang lahat ng ito pag na-discuss na po ni Manny sa inyo kung ano ang dapat niyong gawin. Okay, so di ba kung natatandaan po ninyo, no, sa sinabi ko kanina na na-cut short po yung school year natin at saka may Department Memorandum number 45, series of 2020 na in-issue po ang central office natin na to temporarily suspend po, no, ang phase 3 at saka phase 4. Pero ito na po yung bago, no? Dapat po nating gawin based on DM45 rather, that instead of having 4 COTs, 3 na lang po ang COTs na kailangan. And makikita po nyo dyan na mayroong transmuted RPMS rating based on the COT rating. At kung ano na po ang magiging divisor nito. So divided by 3 na lang po. Okay? So mabasa din po ninyo yan sa Department Memorandum number 45 Series 2020. So nais ko po magkaroon kayo ng kopya nito upang mapag-aralan ninyo at mapag-uusapan ninyo sa bawat paaralan. Next, Joy. Okay? Ito pa rin po, part pa rin po ng DM45 Series 2020, no? The recalibration of the RPMS rubric shall be done in such a way that the total number of available valid main and supporting means of verification submitted obtains the highest rating for efficiency. So kung babasahin po ninyo ang original, may 5 na dapat ninyong maging batayan sa pagbibigay ng rating sa efficiency. At sa baba po yung recalibrated, no? Instead of 4, submitted 4 main OVs sa original, sa recalibrated po, submitted 3 main OVs na lang po. Each with any one of the supporting MOV. So binago po yon kasi sinabi ko na putol yung school year at saka renisyon ng central office na wala talagang class observation na nangyayari sa March or sa last quarter. Okay, next. Okay, the electronic IPCRF file is available for downloading, but the postponement of the RPMS year-end review for school-based personnel is still in effect as per Department Memorandum 45 Series 2020 until such time that safety for all DepEd employees is declared. At mayroong important note po dito, no? Kindly disregard all files released and or downloaded before 4 May 2020. So yung wala pang May 4, i-disregard niyo po yung lahat ng mga na-download ninyo ng mga IPCRF po. Okay, babalikan ko lang yung sinabi na until such time that safety for all DepEd employees is declared. So sa inisyo pong Department Order number 11 Series 2020, kasali na po doon, no, ang paggawa po ng ating o pag-comply o accomplish po ng ating IPCRF po. Mabasa nyo po yan sa item number 3. Sinabi po dito, sa itaas pala ng item number 6, continuity of DepEd programs and services at all levels. So sa item number 10, for schools and CLCs, the work priorities shall be anchored on the operationalization of the basic education Learning Continuity Plan or BELCP and school calendar and activities for SY 2020-2021, including, kung babasahin po ninyo ang letter J as in Jorly, mababasa po ninyo sa DO 11 series of 2020, letter J, completion of RPMS requirements of the SY 2019-2020 per DM number 45 series 2020 and further guidelines that may be issued. So sa ngayon po, kasali na talaga ang completion po ng RPMS based on RPMS requirements of the SY 2019-2020 based on DO 11 series of 2020. So maraming salamat sa inyong pakikinig. Stay safe everyone. Congratulations po sa inyong lahat for the job well done. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much, Sir Burley. Again, I would like to remind to those who has just joined, please turn off your microphone and your video kasi po nag-overlap doon sa presentation. So yung nakikita po ng ibang participants ay yung video niyo po. And to those who cannot see the slides, please click the arrow beside Sir Joey Bantug's name. Makikita niyo po doon yung red pin. please click the red pin so you will see the slides. And also, we are sorry because we cannot adjust anymore the slides kasi yung presentation po, galing na po yan sa central office. Okay, so Sir Julie, once again, thank you very much. For our first session is on accomplishment of electronic IPCRF, and this will be tackled by Ma'am Marnie Bulak. Ma'am Marnie, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so before we start, Ma'am Modeling Magat, kindly, okay, na ma'am, for me to present my screen. Okay, so my discussion for today would be the accomplishment of our IPCRF electronic tool. I'll share my screen. Okay, so nakita ba, Ma'am Apple? My screen.
Yes. Yes, Ma'am Marnie.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Apple. Okay, so how to accomplish our IPCRF electronic tool for school year 2019-2020. So let me start by telling you about what is the tool or the electronic tool, the IPCRF electronic tool. So it is macro-enabled workbook, meaning it has coded, embedded code in it so that it can work, it can follow commands using our Microsoft Excel. Then it has 4 parts, parts 1 to 4. Then the part 1 comprises of our COT and IPCRF ratings data collection, while part 2 is the core behavioral competencies data collection. So basically, akong i-discuss is all about how to accomplish, how to encode our IPCRF electronic tool. So we have roles, which actually last year we had our regional orientation on the IPCRF electronic tool with some of our school heads. There are only representatives from each district, from Mati North, Mati South, and Mati Central. So this time, this electronic tool is already meet the feedbacks given from the last year. So there are a lot of feedbacks, comments, suggestions on the previous version of the IPCRF electronic tool. So that's why this school year's electronic tool, so revise na siya in order to make sure that those suggestions were and comments and feedbacks based last year were followed. So we have 2 roles sa ato IPCRF. So sila ni ang mogamit sa ato ang tool, si rater and si ratee. So for example, sa atong school, we have si teacher, si ratee, and si school head ang ato ang rater. So we have our simplified flowchart. So what are the responsibilities of each of the rater, of the different rules, the rater and the ratee? So the rater will be the one to download the IPCRF electronic tool. And he or she will encode the ratee's data. The rater now encodes part 1, which is COT, comprises of COT and QET ratings, while ratee encodes part 2 and part 4 of our template. So after the rater encodes part 1, the rate's data, so ihatag niya ang file kang Ratee to encode part 2 and part 4. After that, ibalik ni Ratee kang rater to upload the file, the IPCRF electronic tool, to the system. So, si schoolhead na ang mag-submit or si rater ang mag-submit sa file. Okay, so how do we download or where do we download the IPCRF electronic tool? So, the steps are download from the official Google Drive link to make sure that the file na ma-download ninyo is legit. So, dito sa ma-scam ta ha. Dito ta sa official Google Drive link. Okay. Then, second is to extract from the zip file. So, ang atong ma-download na file is a compressed file. It is a zip file. So, atong pinakauna buhaton is to extract the file. So, here is the link. Go to deped.in/IPCRF Encode 2019-2020. So, that is the only URL na atong gamiton to download the IPCRF electronic tool. So, by now, you can download already our IPCRF electronic tool. So, if you have opened the URL given, so mani siya ang mag-open. It's a Google Drive, which includes the compressed file, the compressed folder, which has a file name, DepEd Prescribed IPCRF Parts 1 to 4, School Year 2019-2020.zip. So, meaning naka-compress pa siya. Atong buhaton is to right-click and click download para ma-download na to ang file. So, that's the file. Okay, after we have downloaded the file, the second step is to extract. So, natin warning because this is also some of the mistake last year na gi-open siya diretso without extracting. So, do not open the IPCRF Excel tool without first extracting it from the zip file. Because pag i-open siya diretso na wala pa siya na-extract, may possibility na mag-error siya and the macro code na na-added to sa Excel file will not work anymore. So, mag-download na po kag-usab. Kaya na may tabo. So, do not open the IPCRF Excel tool without extracting it first. So, we have a lot of tools or application that can be used to extract our compressed folder. So, we have two ways to extract our compressed or zip file. So, first way is to extract the folder using right-click method. Right-click lang siya, and then click Extract All. After that, a dialog box, Extract Compressed Zip Folder dialog box will appear para ma-extract nimo ang folder. I think our ICT coordinators are expert on extracting a folder. So these are the steps. After that, click Extract. So automatically, our Excel file, the electronic IPCRF electronic tool, will be extracted beside our compressed folder. So muna na siya ang sulod sa ato ang compressed na folder. The second method, or money usually na ginahimo na usahay ma-confuse sila na na-extract na. The second method is to double-click the folder. So once you double-click the folder, i-open ka niya to a dialog box na pagtuunin mo na-extract na siya. So ang usual na mali sa teacher, or sa school head is open na dayon niya diretso ang folder na nasa sulod. But, dili pa na siya extracted. So, atong buhaton, if mapansin niyo sa taas, na siya extract na word, so meaning wala pa siya na-extract. Extract folder na siya, meaning compressed folder pa na siya. Ang atong buhaton sa method number 2 or method B is to drag and drop katong Excel file na atong nakita to your desktop. So, copy to your desktop. So, that's another way of extracting our IPCRF electronic tool or our Excel file. So, just drag and drop. So, that's our responsibility number 1 of the rater, to download and, of course, extract our IPCRF electronic tool. Okay, so if na-extract na ni rater, yung buhatan is now, of course, to encode the Ratee's data. So, to encode Ratee's data, first is, of course, to open our IPCRF electronic tool, enable editing. Third is enable macros. Fourth is encode schools data. So, ang pinakauna i-encode when we have already opened our IPCRF electronic tool is the schools data, bago ang raters data. Because there are data na mag-depend dito sa schools data. Okay, so unahon dyan dapat i-encode ang schools data. Then the raters data, and then make copies, and then encode raters data. Make copies because same with what we have done last year, di ba? Each of our teacher is nasiya isa ka Excel file as IPCRF electronic tool niya. So, manang na ay make copies. So, what are the do's and don'ts? So, first one, our IPCRF electronic tool can be opened using our laptops or tablets with Windows and Mac OS X operating system. It can also be opened in our desktop PCs with Windows and Mac OS or Mac OS X operating system. So, kana atong mga laptops na ginagamit, so pwede siya maka-open sa atuang IPCRF electronic tool. Maka-open and maka-generate sa needed command sa ato IPCRF electronic tool. So, it doesn't open in mobile phones. So, usually, ang karon is nagamit og cellphone lang, mobile phones during our webinar. But, our IPCRF electronic tool, dili siya ma-open using our mobile phones. Ma-Android ba na siya or ma-iOS. Naba mo'y Vivo diha, Oppo, or iPhone, dili hapon na siya maka-open. Okay, next is tablets. So, dili po siya natin ma-open sa tablets unless Windows ang atong operating system sa tablets. But if natin tablets na Android, iPad OS, or Windows RT operating system, dili po siya ma-open. Next is Chromebooks or Windows RT. So, dili po siya ma-open sa ato ang IPCRF. So, it is programmed to be open sa ato lang mga Windows and Mac OS X laptops, tablets, and desktop PCs. Okay? Para dili mo malibog nga nung dili siya ma-open sa inyong mobile phones. Kaya dili did siya, wala siyang program to open or to be used using mobile phones, tablets, and Chromebooks. Next, our IPCRF electronic tool can be opened using Microsoft Office Excel versions 2010, 13, 16, 2019, and our latest version, which is the Office 365. But it does not open in numbers because there are a lot of spreadsheets. So, see, Excel is a spreadsheet application. There are a lot of other spreadsheet applications such as Numbers, Microsoft Office Excel, 2008, 2011, Google Sheets, Office Spreadsheet, LibreOffice. So, kaya siya dili nato siya ma-open o dili nato magamit si IPCRF electronic tool if kana na mga spreadsheet application atong gamiton. Only it runs with our Microsoft Office Excel with the following version: 2010, 2013, 2016, 2019, and Office 365. Okay, next. So, once we have opened our IPCRF electronic tool, mo ni siya ang tsura. So, na siya warning that this is a protected view. So, atong himuon is to enable editing. Just click enable editing. Kana siya na button. Okay, just click enable editing. I think this is also the same with our IPCRF electronic tool last year. It's the same process. We click enable editing pag open nato sa ato ang IPCRF electronic tool. Then next is, as I've said, because our IPCRF electronic tool is macro enabled, so para mag-run tong iyang mga code embedded, we have to enable our macros. So there are, mapo na siya ang last year kasagaran sa mga concerns. Usually, manggod, by default, kini si Excel naka-disable iyahang macros. There are those computers, laptops, na mag-warning siya just like what you are seeing in my screen. So mag-warning siya that macros have been disabled. So what you're going to do is to only click enable content, then automatically mag-enable na ito macros. But there are laptops, desktop computers na dili siya mag-open na warning. So we have to enable our macros manually. So atong buhaton is to go to File, and then find Options, which is located at the bottom of our tabs. Then an Excel Options dialog box will appear. Then find Trust Center. So Trust Center tab is found at the bottom pod. Then after that, you go to Trust Center settings. So after that, you find macro settings, which is nasa left side sa ato ang dialog box. And then you'll find macro settings. So by default, naka-click ang disable all macros. What we need to do is to click enable all macros to make sure na ang atong Excel file will be able to run its macros embedded programs. Then after that, don't forget to click OK. Ayaw siya i-close. Dapat OK. Kaya if i-close na to siya diretso, dili siya ma-apply. So uses na to siyang i-click. So after clicking enable all macros, click OK. Next is, after that, after clicking OK, mag-close to siya na dialog box, and then you'll be directed to the previous dialog box, which is the Excel option. Again, click OK. Then, atong buhaton is to close all the open Excel workbooks and restart Excel. Meaning, i-close ni mo tanan o mag-open ka o balik. I-open ni mo to siya o balik na file. The same file. Okay, so if na-enable na nimo ang content, na-enable na nimo ang mga macros, so you're good to go. You are good to start the encoding. So this is the appearance now. I mean the user interface of our IPCRF electronic tool. So pag open nato, naa siya 5 ka tabs. which are the encoding tab, the part 1 proficient tab, part 2 tab, part 3, and part 4. So, ang pinakauna nato na asa ta mag-encode is the encoding tab. So, these are the tabs or sheets properties. So, unsay pwede nato mabuhat in each of the tabs. From encoding tab, part 1 tab, part 2, part 3, and part 4. Okay, so for our encoding tab, the first tab na itong makita. So, balik ha, para makita niyo. So, the first tab, which is encoding tab, is pwede na ito siya ma-edit. Meaning, maka-encode ta, maka-add ta og content sa ato ang encoding tab. It is protected, but it is not printable. The second tab, which is the part 1, it is not editable. So, meaning, dili ka maka-encode, dili ka maka-change, dili ka maka-edit sa part 1 na tab. Because part 1 is more or less, ano na siya, automatically generated na ang sulod ni part 1. So, dili ka pwede mag-change sa part 1. Then, it is protected, but it is printable. Next is part 2. So again, same with part 1, it is automatically generated by our IPCRF electronic tool. It is protected and it is also printable. Part 3, again, same with part 1 and part 2 tab. So it is not editable, it is protected, and it can be printed. The last one is part 4, because I think this part, Ratee will encode or will be able to edit the content of part 4. It is not protected, of course, para maka-edit, and it is printable. So those are the properties para makabalo mo na kini siya din na part na tab, dili siya pwede edit, or kini na tab, pwede edit. Okay? So this is now, again, the encoding tab. So it is, the encoding tab is na siya part 1 and part 2. So part 2 is on the behavioral. Na siya like na to. Core behavioral competencies. Si part 1, of course, is katong COT, QAT ratings, as well as the basic information employee narrator and Miss School. So, if katong last year, nakakita sa IPCRF, last year, so, medyo different na yung iyahang, na yung mga nadungag na mga content, especially the COT, because last year wala siya. Okay, so, let's start the encoding process on how to accomplish our IPCRF electronic tool. So, again, ganina, kung sulti, we first encode our school's data. So, school's data include the region, of course, the division. So, what you're going to do is just click the icon, the rectangle, baliktad siya na rectangle actually, icon for our, that's the icon for a combo box. So pag die combo box, meaning you just have to, you don't have to type the content, but you just have to choose on the options in the combo box. We have district or municipality, school ID, of course, our school name, school type, urban or rural, then the size of the school, small, medium, large, or very large, and the curricular classification, so if it is only kindergarten, kinder to grade 6, kinder to grade 10, kinder to grade 12, and so on and so forth. Then, wait, may bag. Okay. So, excuse me for the internet number. Okay, so after encoding our school's data, so that's why first nato ipa-encode ang school's data because curricular classification, or I mean, the data on the level taught will depend on the curricular classification. So for example, kung ang inyong curricular classification is kindergarten to grade 6, is of course, ang level taught na options na mulabas is only for elementary. So wala siya for secondary or for senior high school, of course. Because ang curricular classification sa school is kinder to grade 6 lang. Okay? So that's why unaw na to encode ang school's data. Next, raters data. So, we have the name of the rater. So, if mapansin niyo naa siya format sa baba. So, ato siyang sundon ng format. Last name, comma, first name, space, middle initial, then period. So, muna siyang ato ang format in encoding out the name of our rater. Next is position, of course. So, position sa rater, si head teacher ba si school head or principal 1, principal 2, so, yeah, or master teacher. Date of review. So, yung date of review, it only accepts date from February 2020. So, that's from February 1 onwards. So, kung mabutang mo ito o January 31, 2020, dili niya i-accept ang date. And it also have a date format which start with year, dash, month, dash, day. So, na siya. Mag-guide ka ni electronic tool because na siya yung mga hint on the format. Na siya hatag na mga guide para sa formatting para i-accept siya ni IPCRF electronic tool. Next is, of course, by default, our rating period is from school year 2019-2020. Then, ang buhatan ni rater is to save the file or Ctrl-S as shortcut, then close the workbook. Then, ang buhatan niya is to make copies. Because, di ba, daghan man o ratee si rater, so, copy ko na niya daan. So, mag-copy-paste na siya sa ato ang IPCRF tool, electronic tool. So, para, of course, maglibog man tayo kung the same lang gihapon siya na file name, or magbutang na siya open close 1, open close 2, di ba? Pag i-copy nato siya. So, atong limuon is, butangan na nato siya karon og name ni Ratee. Pwede niya ta malibog. So, sumpayan nato ang atong file name. Diba atong file name by default is DepEd Prescribed IPCRF Parts 1 to 4, School Year 2019-2020. Sumpayan nato siya og dash. For example, pag LM mo, elementary, or pag secondary, SEC, or pag senior high school, SHS, dash, pangalan, or I mean, una is last name, full name ni Ratee. So, for example, atong Ratee kay si Jose Rizal. So, dash, Rizal, comma, Jose. For example, pag ako, dash, Ilem, dash, Bulak, comma, Warni. So, that would be our file name for each of our IPCRF tool sa atong teacher. So, for example, na kay 12 ka teachers, so dapat kay 12 ka different IPCRF electronic tool with different file name. Ang file name is naay name sa imuhang mga ratee. Para dili ka malibog. Para kini na file para ni kang bulak. So, kung gusto na ka mag-rate karon is kinahanglan nato og kinahanglan nato siya i-open to specific na folder. Okay? Nasunod ko na to. Wala kita? Wala kita?
Alpha pa dito pa sa community.
Wala kita? Na siguro
Resume.
karon ra, ganyan na pa.
Buing ni si Marit. Ito ng Marit. Sige.
Ganyan na ra ako nagyan.
Nawala ang 3 slides. Buang.
Asan na ko?
Resume.
Okay, sorry for the intermission number. Please, ayaw ninyo i-present inyong screen kay dili ta mahuman ani. Ma'am Geneva, Madimo.
Napresent mo mga email address. Email mo ito na resource or funds na mag-apply mo sa internet.
Resume na po ka, Ma'am Mark.
Gusto na ito sa details. Para ito kan sa
Resume na po ka.
Sige.
Resume. Put na na po mag-uilog sa imo ano.
So dili ta mag-present sa atong screen ha, di ta mahuman ani. So ayaw ninyo ayaw na lang mo pag-click sa atong screen para save. Sa inyo ang screen dahil I mean. Ha? Okay na to? Makita na?
Makita na.
Check daw, sir. Ha? Please?
Okay, makita na ta ka, Mark. 2.6.
Nag-view man good ko sa akong presentation, so dili na ako mabantayan na wala na din siya wala na siya nag-present because na ay nag-present na lain. Ha? Sige. Hindi pa ba na ako ibalik ang kadang previous na slides? Or okay ra? Anyway, our meeting is recorded, so you can just review if na natin recorded. So, i-review na lang nato tong mga parts na wala siya wala na display or na-present na atong presentation. But this presentation will be given to you. So, naamoy copy sa presentation para ma-review po ninyo siya. Okay? So, I think let's continue. So, after ato, di ba, we have our copies na. We made copies of the IPCRF electronic tool para sa atong each of the teachers nato na mga ratees. So, include the name of the ratee in the file name para dili mo maglibog na kang kinsa ni siya na IPCRF tool. So, next is after you have make copies of all para sa imong tanang mga teachers, ang himuon na karon ni rater is of course to encode the ratees data. So ato po i-make sure na ang atong gi-open na file, for example, gi-open nato ang file ni Bulak Marnie. So ato po encode there is ang information ni Bulak Marnie. So the name of the employee, the position, so it's teacher 1, teacher 2, teacher 3, master teacher 1. So then of course our employee ID, employment status, regular, permanent, provisional, substitute or contractual. Of course age, sa age is ilahang gi-bracket. So under 25 years old, 25 to 30, 31 to 35, 36 to 40, 41 to 45, 46 to 50, 51 to 55, and over 55 years old. Next is sets, then level thought. So kani siya, as I've said kanina, the level thought na data will depend on the selected selected curricular classification. For example, if ang inyong curricular classification is kindergarten to grade 6, ang mag-appear lang na level thought will be kindergarten and elementary. Wala mo appear na junior high school and senior high school because you are not allowed to the teacher is not allowed to teach in junior high school and senior, okay? Ang di-offer lang ni school is kindergarten to grade 6. Okay? Next is grade level thought. So, kinder ba, grade 1, grade 2, or multigrade. Then, selecting ALS in the subject thought. So, for example, pag ALS siya, disables this field. So, meaning, wala man na siya, di ba, wala yung level, grade level ang ALS. Next is the subject taught Filipino, English, Mathematics, Science, ang pagpuni. Then, if ang school is senior high school, ang teacher is nagtudlo sa senior high school, so, naimulabas na strand instead of the subject taught. So, nasa'y the strand, ACAD, ABM, ACAD HUMS, ACAD STEM, ACAD General Academic, ACAD Pre-Baccalaureate Maritime, TVL Agri-Fishery, TVL Home Economics, and others. So then, the number of years in teaching, 0 to 3 years, 4 to 10 years, more than 10 years. Then, highest degree obtained, bachelor's degree, master's degree, or doctorate degree. Area of specialization, English, Filipino, Math, so, kami na magpatang. So, those, ang manata sa responsibility number 1 and number 2 ni rater. Let's go to number 3, Encodes part 1, which is COT and IPCRF ratings. So, ilang buhaton is just encode. Ibutang lang dyan niya ang, i-encode lang niya, i-type lang niya ang data. So, we have to encode the COT, the QAP, and after that, we finalize part 1. So, si Ratee ang mag-finalize, si rater, ang mag-finalize kang part 1. So, itong buhaton is just to fill in our COT rating by, of course, first is unsa ang subject taught ni teacher. So, ratings, we have 3 to 7 as profession, and 4 to 8 na wala na po. Okay, so 10 minutes na lang daw ito ang time, so we'll paspasan nato siya. So, you only type on the white cells. So, tanan is ato lang siyang fill upan. Okay, so after that, after you lock COT, number 1, mangayon na siya og password. Same with what we have done sa last year na IPCRF tool. So, mag-require siya og 6 characters na password to confirm, to assign that password. Then, you confirm yung password, then click go. So that will be your password to all of your COT. Pag-lock mo sa imong COT. Same na ito siya na password. Okay? Next is our QET rating. Sa QET, magbutang na po ka o mga ratings. Sa date of review, then approving authority, kinsa ang approving authority ninyo. Then after is finalize part 1. So, before you ma-finalize, again, you will be prompted with the, you will be required to input the password of the rater. So, sa raters nila, sa rater ang mag-input sa password. Okay. Next is, pagkahuman ni rater, this is now the part ni Ratee na mag-encode sa part 2 and part 4. So, you finalize part 2, si Ratee na nihamin ni si teacher. Ihatag na katong file, Excel file, para ma-finalize ni Ratee si part 2 and part 4. So, sa part 2, we have core behavior competencies. Ihalang i-check ang mga core behavior competencies na siya, ang teacher. Then after is click finalize part 2. And again, si Ratee will set a password para sa iyahang core behavior competencies para dili siya ma-change ni Ratee. Kasi nag-away sila ni Ratee, i-change siya ni Ratee iyahang mga tubag dili sa core behavioral competencies. So that's why na siya password sa Ratee. Mag-set yapon siya og 6 characters na password. Okay? Then we also have part 4, so developmental plan. So kini ang mag-encode is si Ratee na po si teacher, for example. So after niya na mag-encode, so iyang ibutang is Iyang sunod mo aton is to finalize part 4 and same. Mangayo siya og password katong password ni Ratee na iyang gi-set up din na and finalizing part 2. Then click go. Okay? The last one of course is to upload na kanag nahuman naman ang kanang part na lock na. So, if you wanted to unlock, you can unlock using the same password na inyong himo or gi-assign. But make sure na dili na to malimtan ang password. Same sa atong usahay malimtan, dili jud usahay kasagaran malimtan nato tong password no sa DepEd email, sa Office 365, sa unsa pa na siya. So make sure na atong timanan ato ang password para once na na-lock na nato siya, ang atong mga ipang-encode, pwede ba natin siya ma-unlock with the same password. After that, the IPCRF tool will be forwarded to the school head for the submission to the system. The submission and the monitoring of submission will be discussed by Ma'am Jaisel na. So, transfer na ni Ratee ang IPCRF tool to the rater. And I think that's the end of my presentation of how we accomplish our IPCRF electronic tool for school year 2019-2020. So, are there questions? Ma'am Apple, mag-entertain ba to questions?
Later na lang siguro,
Later
Ma'am
na lang.
Mark.
Okay.
Pwede, they can direct their questions to your messenger or kay Ma'am Jason.
Okay, sige. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Marnie. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Maria Genevieve Francis Kete. Ma'am Jen, good morning, Ma'am Jen. For our next session on electronic IPCRF data submission and monitoring, we have Ma'am Jaisa Labrador.
Ma'am
Hi,
Apple,
Ma'am Jen. Good morning, Ma'am
Jen.
Ma'am Jen. Good morning, Ma'am Jen.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Hindi ko good morning. Naka-mute mo ko di ay. So, take your time and padayon lang ninyo inyong. Maminaw lang po kung appeal.
Okay po.
Sige.
Thank you, Ma'am
Thank
Jen. Okay, for our session on data submission and monitoring, we have Ma'am Jaisel Labrador. Ma'am Jaisel.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Ma'am
Okay, thank you,
Jen.
Ma'am Apple.
Loud and clear.
Okay, good morning once again, especially to our Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Alona Uy, to our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Maria Genevieve Francisquete, and to our SGOD Chief, Sir Jordy Uy. This is the first time that the SGOD HRD section is hosting a webinar. And I hope that you can bear with us despite of some technical issues, because I'm sure all of us is still adjusting to the new normal. So my task is to present to you the second part of the IPCRF data collection system, specifically on eIPCRF data submission and monitoring. Just like what Ma'am Marnie said a while ago, this is an improved version of the previous data collection system which we used for school year 2018-2019. This time, the central office had already included a facility for monitoring the submission and uploading of the IPCRF of all teachers nationwide. So may I just underline some important notes for both the rater and the ratee. Like what Ma'am Marnie presented, it is the responsibility of the rater to download the IPCRF e-tool. Also, it must be the rater to encode the rater's data, especially for parts 1, including the COT and the QET rating of the teachers, as well as the encoding of parts 2 and 4 of the IPCRF. Also, it is the responsibility of the rater, the school head, or the ICT coordinator to upload the file for submission to the system. Okay, so this is now the IPCRF data submission and monitoring system. Next slide, please, Sir Joey. Okay, so what is IPCRF data submission and monitoring system? It is a web application made in Google Apps script intended for the collection of unaccomplished prescribed IPCRF form, file, and data. Okay, so here's the IPCRF data submission and monitoring system. Please, next slide, Sir Joey. Okay, so it is the principal or the school head or the assigned personnel that should submit the accomplished IPCRF files. After which, the SDO, Human Resource Development Section, monitors the division-wide submission of the IPCRF. In the regional office, it is the Human Resource Development Division who monitors the region-wide submission of all IPCRF in Region 11. Also, in the central office, the BHROD, HRDD monitors the nationwide submission of all IPCRF, this time for teachers only. Next slide, Sir Joey. Okay, so to submit the IPCRF files, you can click or visit the link https://bip.ly/IPCRF system submit. Who will submit again the IPCRF for teachers? It is the school principal or the assigned personnel. Next slide, Sir Joey. Okay. Here's the quick steps for IPCRF data submission and monitoring system. First is you have to open the link for IPCRF submission. And then you can only access the link if you will be using your DepEd email address. Okay, please don't forget your DepEd email address. Just like what happened a while ago, there are lots of participants who are not using their DepEd email address. That's why they need to ask permission first for them to be able to join the webinar. Okay, so if you're going to open the link, this is what you can see. That's in your screen. You have the IPCRF data submission form for school year 2019-2020. So you have to click upload IPCRF file here. And please don't forget to write the name of the teacher, the school ID, the region, and the school name. The user interface appears and you have to click upload IPCRF file here and then browse for the file you want to submit and upload. Okay, there you can see in your screen. Take note that single uploading po tayo. This is different from the previous data collection system that we used for school year 2018-2019. Kasi we uploaded all the IPCRF files of the teachers in a school. So this time, single uploading po. So there are 4 possibilities if you're going to upload or submit the IPCRF. One is the prompt that you will see in your screen is success, which means that the uploading or submission of the IPCRF is successful. It is also possible that the prompt will be sorry. What this means? What do we mean by this? This means that the submission or uploading is unsuccessful. It is also possible that the prompt will say version error. This means that the file is the prescribed IPCRF file, but is a version before May 4, 2020. Now make sure that the eIPCRF that you will be submitting or uploading online is the version uploaded by the BHROD on May 4, 2020 or later. Kasi pag before May 4, 2020, that will not be recognized by the system. Kasi may mga ibang teachers or ibang schools who have uploaded the eIPCRF sometime in April. So if you will be uploading that IPCRF, that will not be recognized by the system. Another is the prompt is file error. This means that the file is any other file which is not an IPCRF file. Okay, so I think I have discussed this slide already. Next. Next, please. Okay, the Excel file extensions must not be XLX, .xlx, or .xlsx. Make sure that the Excel file extension is .xlsm. That is recognized by the system. Right after you have placed the name of the teacher, the school ID, the region, and the school name, then you have to click submit. And a notice will pop up after a successful submission or uploading, which says, congratulations, your IPCRF data has been uploaded successfully. Again, quick step for IPCRF data submission and monitoring system. First is you have to open the link for monitoring of IPCRF submission. Take note, who can only monitor the submission of the eIPCRF? Only the registered personnel who will be able to monitor the submission of the IPCRF. They can only access the link if they will be using their DepEd email address. So as you can see in the screen there, Sir Kadungog is actually from the central office. So na-view niya lahat ng mga submitted IPCRF from different regions. For our case in the SDO, we will be able to monitor the submission from all schools. Unlike the previous data collection system, we were not able to monitor the submission per school as well as the number of teachers who have already uploaded or encoded their IPCRF. This time, the SDO, the RO, and the CO can already monitor the submission of the EIPCRF. Okay, so makikita namin kung sino yung mga schools na hindi pa nakasubmit and how many teachers have already encoded their IPCRF. Take note, sino po ang mag-submit or mag-upload? Only the school head, the school principal, or the ICT coordinator. For big schools, we are allowing 2 to 3 uploaders. Again ha, for big school, pwede kayong 2 or 3 yung uploaders. Okay. Okay, so here are the links. Access the link submission. Given na yung link, https://bit.ly/ipcrf system submit. For the SDO, through the SGOD HRD section, we can monitor the submission by accessing the given link. Again, this is only for registered users for the monitoring. And please take note that the recommended browser should be Google Chrome browser. Okay, so let us be clear on the roles and responsibilities at each governance level. So, for schools, the task for the school year 2019-2020, for both the ratees and the raters as well as the school head, is the finalization of ratees RPMS portfolio, submission and raters evaluation of the RPMS portfolio of ratees, rater accomplishment of IPCRF, as well as rater agreement on final IPCRF rating, and the development planning or conference to discuss phase 4 IPCRF development plan. The school head could also print the IPCRF for all teachers and submit the electronic IPCRFs to the central office via online IPCRF data collection system and prints IPCRFs to SDO for signing of approving authority and or filing. So what is the role of the schools division office? Is to monitor the submission or uploading of the IPCRF of all schools in the division office. For the regional office, they will also monitor the uploading and submission of IPCRFs by SDOs. Next slide, Sir Joey. Okay, the central office monitors the IPCRF submission. They also analyze and interpret national IPCRF data and submit RPMS interpretation, data analysis and interpretation results to NAIAP for HR development planning. Copy furnished the SDOs and VROs. So how the school heads, division, and regional HR personnel analyze the summary results of IPCRF data? So the results of the RPMS ratings are very helpful not only for the ratee and the rater, but as well as for the SDO, the RO, and the central office. Because through the RPMS results of the RPMS ratings, we would be able to identify and provide HR interventions to the most pressing strands of the PPST. Also, the SDO, the RO, and the central office can identify potential praise awards nominees. Also, for consolidating and coordinating the developmental interventions, which shall form part of HR plan and basis for rewards and incentives. And to determine top performers of the agency who qualify for awards and incentives. So that is why it is very important to communicate the results of the RPMS rating. Next, please, Sir Joey. So how can the school head, HR, and the organization utilize the consolidated RPMS data? At the school level, the rater, or the school principal would be able to know how many teachers got which rating in which objective at each position or subject area. Which objectives should be considered as learning and development priorities based on the school-wide consolidated IPCRF data? And what L&D activities and programs can be developed to immediately address the needs of the teachers? And how can the school head improve his or her instructional supervision plan or mechanism to support his or her teachers? At the SDO, RO, and CO levels, we would be able to identify which objectives would be considered as learning and development priorities based on the division and region-wide consolidated data. That is, the averages of final rating and rating per quality, efficiency, and timeliness. Also, the SDO would be able to identify what interventions can be provided to schools to support and improve the teachers in terms of, first, content and pedagogy, second, curriculum delivery, and third, coaching and mentoring. So you can see in your screen the links from RPMS data up to PD, or that is professional development. Through the RPMS data collection system, we would be able to identify the strengths of the teachers as well as the priority for development. With this, we would be able to use the results as basis for the crafting of human resource development intervention. Also, the SDO, the RO, and the central office will make use of the RPMS data as basis for rewards and incentives. Okay, so I think that I am already done on the submission and monitoring, which is part 2 of the IPCRF data collection system. Ma'am Apol?
Thank you, Ma'am Jacob. So I understand that you all have questions. So to address them properly, kindly message Ma'am Jaisel or Ma'am Marley Kasi po varied, I know varied yung questions natin. So we cannot address them directly kung dito sa webinar. So please message na lang po. And also, I would like to remind everyone that the attendance will be based on the evaluation. So please do the online evaluation.
Ma'am Apple.
Yes.
Ma'am Apple.
Yes, thank you.
Can we entertain mga 2 or 3 questions from our participants since we still have about 15 minutes?
Okay, sige po. So, do you have questions? Please chat na lang your questions so I can read them.
For your questions, kindly place your questions on the chat box. I think the most important part is the encoding of the IPCRF results. And then, sa schools, yung allowed na mag-submit or mag-upload through the link or using the link is the school head or the school principal as well as ICT coordinators. Again, I will stress for big schools, you are allowed to have 2 or 3 uploaders. Kasi marami man kayo tapos isa-isa yung coding natin. Unlike before. Okay, any questions? Ma'am Apple, merong questions yata?
Okay, from Sir Joland, Sir Joland is asking for the link for the evaluation. We have that on online, no?
Yes, ma'am. We'll be giving the link later.
Okay. From Baso Elementary School, when will be the deadline for the submission of this IPCRF?
We will be waiting for specifically for the BHROD as to the deadline of the IPCRF. But if you have already finalized your IPCRF, you can already upload the IPCRF. I understand merong mga schools na hindi katapos sa kanilang IPCRF for SY 2019-2020. We have time because August 24 pa naman yung classes natin mag-start. So make sure you have already finalized from today. August, you have already finalized your IPCRF so that you can start uploading.
Okay, another question from Alicia Astronomo. What about the non-teaching personnel? Same lang ba sa teachers ang gamiton?
Okay. So for now, the IPCRF data collection system is only for teachers. Kasi iba yung objectives for non-teaching personnel. I think it is included in the ways forward for non-teaching personnel. We will be presenting that one later, ma'am.
Okay.
For now, for teachers pa lang yung data collection system.
Okay, Ma'am Shay. From Ma'am Alicia Peñaranda, how about the ALS who will upload?
How about for ALS who will
Yes, ma'am.
upload? I think it will be the X2. Sir Ronnie Piquero and Sir Jonathan Gallardo, who will be uploading the IPCRF for ALS, just like before.
Okay.
Like
From Eric.
IPCRF data collection system. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so from Sir Eric Loremia, sa part 1 sa EIPCRF sa grade level taught, wala lagi grade 7 to 10 na option.
Ma'am Apple, I'd like
Yes,
to
ma'am.
sa grade level
Okay.
thought man po, sa akong discuss ganina, grade level thought will depend on the curricular classification of the school. So dapat ang mag-enter sa kadaan o data sa school bago siya maglabas.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Marnie. So if you have more questions, kindly direct them to Ma'am Marnie Bulak and Ma'am Jayce Labrador. Ma'am Jace, can we have the link for the online evaluation? Because we will be basing their attendance on the responses from the link. And also, the certificate of participation will be given in hard copies and will be coursed through the PSDSS.
Okay, okay. So for ways forward after this webinar, you may do the capacity building or orientation at your school level or district level. And then kindly watch out for memo on year-end RPMS 2019-2020 activities with adjusted timelines. I think this was already explained a while ago by Sir Zorly Uy that we have DepEd Memorandum number 45 series of 2020 for the guidelines.
Okay, Ma'am Jace.
Also, we have the please watch out for memo on RPMS for calendar year or school year 2020-2021 for teachers and for calendar year 2020 for non-teaching personnel. So Joey,
Okay.
please, next slide.
Next slide, Sir Joe.
Sir Joey. Okay, so we will be sharing the the slides to you, and please accomplish the e-attendance and evaluation form. There you have the link for the evaluation. You have http://deped.in/IPCRF webinar is recorded. Carefully and accurately encode your details for the digital certificate. So doon sa link for evaluation, kung sino yung nag-evaluate, because there is a facility to encode your email address. So that will be the basis for the certificate. Please accomplish the evaluation until June 26, 2020. We will be sharing to you the slides kasi sabi nga ni Ma'am Alice kanina, ni Ma'am Jonna, I think Ma'am Patis, it's difficult daw, no? For 2 hours to run the IPCRF data collection system. But we will be sharing to you the recorded version of the webinar as well as all the slides. Bigay namin for per district. So, i-share namin lahat so yung slides so that you will have time to review. Are there more?
Okay, please screenshot the link.
Okay, again, please evaluate the webinar. Access the link given in your screens. You have time to accomplish until June 26, 2020. Ma'am Apple?
Okay, Ma'am Jai, are you good?
Yes,
Okay, na.
I'm good.
Okay. So, again, reminding everyone, if you have questions or clarifications, you are free to message Ma'am Jaisel or Ma'am Marlene. So, that concludes our webinar for today. Thank you all very much for your participation. Good day and God bless us all.
Okay. Hello, Ma'am Apple. Again, reminder, you can only access the evaluation using your DepEd email. Again ha, kasi may nakita akong comment na di daw ma-access yung evaluation. Please use your DepEd email so that you can access the evaluation, the online evaluation. So,
Once again, thank you all very much and God bless us all.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Ma'am Alice.
Hello, salamat.
Salamat.
Thank you everyone,
Bye.
mga heads, mga ICT coordinators for joining. Medyo, na ano
Ma'am
no,
Nani,
we only have 2 hours kasi
saan
2
lagi ni
hours
ma'am
lang yung
sa alin?
webinar natin. Yes,
Sa
ma'am.
evaluation link, ma'am, need permission me.
Ma'am, basig dili email imong gigamit.
Wala pa man nag-require email. Asa may mapasok para maghatag sa among email?
Ma'am, dapat naka-open imong email, ma'am.
Kanang email lang pa sa DepEd, dapat i-open sa
Yes,
naman.
ma'am.
Login sa siya,
Yes, ma'am. Login sa ma'am at ma-access.
Sige. Okay,
Kasi
thank
DepEd
you.
dati
Try
na itong
ko.
gamit, ma'am. Dili siya ma-open, basta dili koan.
Okay, thank you.
Sige, ma'am. Thank you. Ma'am Alice.
Pakibalik daw sa link daw, Joe. Please.
Pakibalik. Joe, pakibalik ko sa link, Sir Joey. For a while, ma'am ha, among ipa-show. Butang na lang ako sa chat box.
Ano, ma'am? Okay na. Everyone, here's the link again. Please screenshot na lang po.
Ma'am Mary Jean, na-access na nimo ang link para sa evaluation.
I-attempt ko, ma'am. Dali lang, ma'am. Gina-attempt ko pa.
Sige, ma'am.
Suruyin na to sila sa luban.
Ma'am Marnie, access na po. Ma'am
Hey,
Jason.
ma'am.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
Salamat.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Bye.
Okay, ano naman, te? Ano naman? Nag-adpan ba yan siya sa imo? Wala na po na po.